So I'm on holidays, and here is PlugShare's map of superchargers across the part of Australia that I care about. This is the bit that I'm worried about. I'm going to be travelling from Horsham up to the Gold Coast, and then I'm going to be travelling back down through Sydney, around Berry, and then back down to Horsham. So I'm going to be using this route, but I'm also going to be travelling through areas like this stretch here, where my distance is probably more than what the car can handle. Now luckily there's other chargers around, not very many, but in New South Wales and Queensland a lot of third-party ones have been installed. So see, there's destination chargers, but none of that really helps. Type 2 as well, none of that really helps because we're not going to be using those when we're traveling because they're simply too slow. And as you can see, there's still huge areas where there's nothing. This is the trip that we're looking at taking. The recommended trip that it's got using all of the default settings. The 161, the practicality on the trip was I never really got that good. Since I've done the trip, I know exactly how it's going to work out. So we'll dig in here a bit further. I don't want to arrive with less than 20%, and I'm not going to charge above 90%. That's the realistic side. Realistic. When I leave, we can assume I'm going to leave with 87% because I'll charge to 90%, but there'll always be the air conditioner going, the little bit of running around and everything like that that happens right before you leave, so you can say that I've lost 3%. And we'll do 3% over, and we've got a fully loaded car, so we'll add 350 kilograms, and we'll assume no wind. It was about 40 degrees, 25 degrees at night, so we'll put 35 degrees in and look at where that sits. Okay, so it's got the consumption a little bit higher than realistic. It said that we didn't need to charge at parks. The truth is we didn't. We charged anyway. The reason was that we had fires all around us. As you can see here, it was absolutely disgusting. The whole trip we had fires going on. Basically, when we pulled up at Albury, it is horrible and red. So we're not actually in Victoria or New South Wales, but either way, that's where we are, and that's where fires are. And then on our way to Gundagai, well, you can see this. You can see just how bad it is. And this is the Gundagai charger. So because it's so bad, me and Zidane, we're heading back to the car to grab some chips. We're going to charge all the way to at least 90%, but we'll probably charge a bit beyond that because it's just so bad. So we are at 64%. I've got it set to 90%, so we're going to be here for at least 20 minutes. But what I'll do, because you get charged idle fees, if you stay here, I'll lift it to 100 when it gets near done, and we'll just take whatever extra charge we get. Listen to the car roar. It's warm. Cooling down my interior. You all good, Zidane? Zidane? This way. Back inside we go. So this is the Etamoga pub, the original one, which is at Albury. Beware the flaming dog, he bites, he has fleas. They open at 12, open at lunchtime today. And that's the cartoon that it's based on. Go in, but that's what the inside of the pub looks like. At the back we've got an old fire engine, some old carts. So this obviously used to all be part of the display, but it's been let go a bit. This is at the back. Oh, there's a little playground for the kids. Sheila's Shithouse Dunny powder room. Oh, some cockatoos. No straight walls. Nice. When we finished at Dubbo, we headed on to Tamworth. And as we come into Tamworth, we had rains like crazy. We had dust storms, we had everything. It went from 43 degrees down to 20 degrees in about 15 minutes, went back up to 40 degrees over the next couple of hours, and then the next downpour came. The weather was pretty crazy. There was winds like you wouldn't believe, and you can see here just what it rained like. So I ended up having to charge here. This, guys, this is the single NRMA chargers that are around the place. And look at this rain. So I'm actually here because I've only got 20% charge. I'm not going to fully charge tonight. I'm just going to chuck a little bit in. And we'll worry about charging properly tomorrow. But I'm just, look at the rain. So I've heard people, oh, you don't want to charge an electric car in the rain. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is because during the phase that they're communicating, there's no power coming from the car, and there's no power coming out of the charger. And they need to initiate communication first before any of that starts. Any water that goes into the connectors are shielded really well so that the water doesn't dribble into them, and if it does, it drains out the back of them. Obviously you want to get as little in there as possible, because if any water does get in there, it will detect it as an issue, as an earth leakage or as phase leakage or something like that. It would have detected it as a problem and not let you charge. And unfortunately I did this at St Arnaud, which was maybe 150 k's down the road, so it's not the entire trip, but this is where we've sat at the moment, which has been rather interesting, because my overall when I left was 169. So this is the first time I've had the entire family in the car. It's the first time I've had that type of weight. I usually do trips to Melbourne and back, so I'm usually doing long kilometres, yet this trip my average has actually been down. Our final stretch from Tamworth to Kingscliff was through some of the areas that have burned. As you would have heard by now, Australia burns, and it has burnt bad. We've lost over 2,000 houses. I can't even tell you how much land space it is, but it is massive, absolutely massive, and they just can't do anything about it. Weather's been bad. There's massive there's massive fuel there for it to burn. They haven't been able to do back burns because the weather's never been permitting, and you know, whenever they get a little bit of weather to permit, there's other things that are more important, like the fires, to care about. Like it's just been crazy. It's been a really, really bad year. So yeah, this is just a bit of a view as to what's been going on in the country. 3,154 kilometres, and you've still got to add on the 150 kilometres that I forgot to reset for at the start of the trip. So you can say 3,300 kilometres we've done. Maybe 500 k's ago my wife made a remark that she doesn't understand why people wouldn't want an electric car, because to her it's made no difference at all to the trip. We've only ever had to stop the same amount of times. The only difference is that we've chosen where we're going to stop based upon the charges, rather than stopping where the where the petrol stations are. So, can everyone please do the usual YouTube things, being the like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm going to try to do more of these. I'm going to try and lift the production quality, so this should be the most crappy video that you're going to see from me. I hope to make them a bit better. And yeah, I've got some things coming up in the next video that'll be a bit more interesting. So I have recorded the entire trip with Scan My Tesla, and yes, that's a lot of data. That's we're going to have probably 4,500 kilometers of data stored. I'm going to be creating dashboards. I'm creating a system that will allow to live replay so that I can overlay that on video. So if you've got any interest in seeing that at all, you definitely want to hang around. On the other side of it, if you want to see more OpenPilot stuff, coming February, the Kia is going to be getting OpenPilot installed back into it, and we have got to do some comparisons between the Tesla and the Kia. Also in the next video I'm going to be showing how good OpenPilot is. Years of doing OpenPilot. How good Autopilot is in the Tesla, and so rather than just about our trip getting up here, I'm going to be going about how good Autopilot's driving on Australia's roads. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you around.